Candela. What's happening, Miami? What's happening? This is Red Pill Rolly coming to you live from the Radio Red Pill headquarters, and it is, it is Friday already, February the 12th. My goodness, it's getting late. I thought I was recording on Thursday, but it is Friday, February 12th already. I'm recording late. I'm probably going to drop this tomorrow morning, so it's February 12th. 2 days away from Valentine's Day. I know you guys are excited about that. Listen, I don't even know where to get started, but it's going to be a short podcast today because I'm really sort of just introducing, or I am announcing that we're going to have a really special guest next week, and I'm going to tell you who that is. But first, we're going to get to Joe Biden. Ooh, 52 executive orders. 52. My God, he's on a rampage. The guy's on a rampage. Thank God that Donald Trump was the guy that was going to be the dictator, who wasn't going to care about the law, who was going to bypass Congress and do all the crap that, oh my God. You realize that he's been in office already for almost a month, and not one piece of legislation has gone through Congress. The only thing that Congress cares about, the House of Representatives, the impeachment, just like last year, same crap, right? January, the only thing that we're talking about was impeaching Trump, even though it was an impending pandemic. Nobody gave a shit. The only thing they wanted to do was impeach Trump, right? And then this year, it's the same thing. It's a replay of everything, and we're just being played like a bunch of idiots. But listen, this impeachment thing is a sham, okay? Like I said, it's going to be a short podcast today, but I got to talk to you about this because it's impossible with everything that's going on to not at least talk about this. Look. In 2020, the House impeached Donald Trump for a phone call that, by all accounts, by anybody who was actually on the call, okay, the call was 100% legit. The transcripts of the call were given to us. Like, they put the transcripts out there. You could read the transcripts. You can see the transcript. There was nothing wrong in the transcript. Everything was 100% legit and a completely, legitimate inquiry by the President of the United States about somebody who could be compromised, but no. Doesn't matter. So the testimony of the only person who wasn't hearsay, but was actually on the call or heard anything about it, the testimony from that person said that there was no quid pro quo. Okay, but doesn't matter, right? You know, the partisan House led by our lovely Nancy Pelosi, right? Yeah, they voted to impeach Trump anyway. Doesn't matter. Right? They just want to continue the efforts to divide America any way they can. Why? Why did they impeach him? Abuse of power. So for abuse of power, they impeached Donald Trump. Now, remember this. Joe Biden is on record stating that he would withhold aid from the Ukraine if a prosecutor wasn't fired. He's on record. He's on tape. He's literally saying that they weren't going to give aid to Ukraine if they didn't fire the prosecutor who was investigating the Burisma, the company that his son was working for, which is in cahoots with the Chinese. So that's why they impeached Donald Trump. Anyway, look, let me just kind of put this into context, okay? The previous administration, our lovely Barack Hussein Obama, they actually approved the investigation of Donald Trump while he was campaigning for his first term, right? Or for his only term at this point. They approved the investigation of a candidate. They investigated him based on lies told to the FISA court, which have been proven now, but nobody cares. So in that instance, a sitting president abuses his power to allow the investigation of a private citizen while using false information, okay? But that's okay because he's a Democrat. And more so, he's also part of the establishment. And in the other circumstance, the president actually has a video of the guy he's asking about admitting that he's abusing his power, and it doesn't matter. Like, I don't even know what to say. You know what I mean? He's got proof. Well, there's no denying it. The son of the vice president worked for Burisma. There's no denying that he was working for for them, or he was at least on the board. There's no denying that he got paid. There's no denying that this guy that came out, that I can't remember his name, came out and said that worked with him, and there's no denying that the emails were real. None of that is deniable, but it doesn't matter because you can't ask about Joe Biden. Nobody can investigate Joe Biden. So Donald Trump is impeached merely for asking about what happened there. That's all he did. He just said, hey, man, look into Joe. Look into Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe I had one eye open there and he was looking into Burisma. We might want to take a look at that in case this guy's compromised. In the best interest of national security, you do not want a guy who owes China any favors running your country. And by the way, this was a year ago. Joe Biden had barely, he was still fighting to get the nomination. He had just come out of like the worst, the end of 2019 was like the worst. Kamala Harris is already out of the race, okay? And she's your vice president now. And Joe Biden was like fighting for the nomination when they impeached Trump for asking about this guy because, there was some corruption there and Trump had developed a relationship with this Ukrainian president. So you can't do that. You just can't be a president. You can't ask about the Biden family. It's just not allowed, man. So if you think about it, it's just like everything else. Okay. We'll never know why Hillary deleted her emails. We won't know why she abandoned our guys in Benghazi. We'll never know what she wanted to hide from the ambassador. Maybe what happened in Benghazi. We'll never know. We'll never know why Comey was allowed to lie under oath and nothing happened to him. We'll never know why he leaked classified information about the investigation, things that he shouldn't have done. We'll never know. We'll never know why Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who maintained an affair and texted about having insurance to keep Donald Trump out of office, but later they were placed, or Strzok was placed in charge of the Russian collusion investigation. Why? Why were these people in charge of this when they were clearly biased? We'll never know. We'll never know why any of these things happen. We'll never know, but we do know that they did happen. See, it's proven that they happened, but we don't know why. And these things happen and not a damn soul paid for any of it, right? So everybody got away with it. And they did it in plain sight. They're just like mocking us. They're mocking us, right? Nobody gives a shit. But you know what we do know? We know that Donald Trump incited the insurrection at the Capitol building. That we do know. Proof. Beyond the shadow of a doubt, man, there is no doubt it was all him. It was all him. So think about this. It wasn't the media. It wasn't the Democrats and their bullshit dossier that they used for a FISA application and which was paid for by the DNC and Hillary Clinton. It wasn't the meeting between Bill Clinton, the little weird silent meeting that he had with the Inspector General Loretta Lynch on his airplane, right? And then later she decided to pursue charges or not to pursue charges against Hillary. It wasn't that. It wasn't, the fact that the establishment and all the entrenched people in Washington that you and I, by the way, pay for their jobs and they live better than us. But it wasn't because they decided to investigate the president for 2 years for collusion with Russia instead of doing shit that they were supposed to do in Congress. It wasn't because of that. It wasn't because of that they did that for 2 years and spent $40 million of our taxpayer money investigating this guy to see if he was colluding with the Russians. And Swalwell came on TV and said he's an agent of the Russians and all the bullshit that they fed you, right? That later on is proven false. It wasn't that. It had nothing to do with any of that. Why people were pissed off, right? So it had nothing to do with the fact that the Russian collusion investigation came up with nothing, right? It had nothing to do with that. And more importantly, okay, it had nothing to do with the fact that for 4 years they berated and they beat down Donald Trump in front of our eyes. And worse, more importantly, they patronized and condescended and berated anyone who supported him and his policies. Anyone who supported anything that he was going for. It made you feel like this big. Why? It wasn't that, right? It wasn't because we saw images of churches burning, statues being torn down, stores being looted, police stations being attacked and burned to the ground, police officers being mistreated and attacked viciously with bats and trash cans and batons and Molotov cocktails thrown at them. And 25 people died during the protests, and not one fucking politician denounced the violence. It wasn't because any of those things happened, okay, because they didn't condemn any of those things. It wasn't because of any of those things that there was a huge problem, and this whole perfect storm had developed over 4 years, okay? And then it was aided by the virus. And then after this perfect storm developed for 4 years of people just freaking taking it, just taking it, right? After all that happened, guess what? We have an election where the weirdest shit in the world happens, okay? And everybody is distraught about it. Nobody thinks it's fair. And you know, you threw it all, after they threw it all in your faces for 4 years, then guess what happens? Okay, the guy who barely won the nomination for his party, the lady who dropped off first for the nomination to his party, they got more votes than any president, any ticket in history. They got more votes than anyone in history. Okay, so under the most suspicious circumstances in history. So imagine that perfect storm that I just told you about that had been brewing in the minds of everybody for 4 years, had nothing to do with Donald Trump's rhetoric, had nothing to do with Donald Trump, what he was saying, had to do with the bullshit that they were feeding us for 4 years. And then all of a sudden, it blows up. And all of this, and by the way, the evidence for it having been pre-planned is mounting. Like they asked for backup. They knew something was happening. The backup was denied. Why was it denied? Nobody knows, right? So all of that shit was happening. And when it all bubbled over and there was a breach into the Capitol building, which nobody condones, everybody condemns it on both sides. Nobody wanted that to happen, including Donald Trump. Okay? When all that shit happens, it's Donald Trump's fault. Everything's Donald Trump. Everything. There's a tsunami in freaking, New Zealand. It's Donald Trump's fault. Everything's Donald Trump's fault. So like, forget about all the other shit that they dumped on the population, right? The people that actually breached it. Forget about all the things that were dumped on the population. Forget about the shaming that happened. Forget about the cancel culture and people being canceled. Forget about the removal of worship from churches, the kneeling down during the anthem. Forget all of it. None of that really mattered to the people that were there. All they cared about was that Donald Trump was giving a speech, and Donald Trump said, hey, go over there peacefully and patriotically and fight to have your voices heard. That's what he said. Read the fucking transcript. That's what he said. He didn't say go over there and burn down the building. He didn't say, hey, go over there and kick the shit out of the congressman. He didn't say any of that. All he said was go over there and fight to have your voices to be heard. Every politician in the world says, oh, we got to fight. We got to take our country back. We got to do this. We got to do that. Yeah, nobody's talking about like literal fighting. They're talking about effort. Give effort. Fight for what you want. That's what you do. That's what Radio Red Pill's about. We're fighting to keep the ideal going. But nobody's fighting, man. I don't want to fight anybody. Okay? I want to reach people at an intellectual level. But you can't, because you say that to people and they're like, oh my God, Donald Trump caused it. Dude, the pious hypocrisy of these politicians is fucking disgusting. It's disgusting when these politicians sit there and you hear them spin things in a certain way and they make, it's because he said, then he said, fight for, come on, man. Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Like, who believes you? Even they don't believe themselves. They're just doing it. It's a political tool. And then all these people that you talk to, he did it. It's Donald Trump. He deserves to be out of there. Why? What are you afraid of? Why do you want to get rid of Trump so bad? What are you afraid of? You're going to lose the next election? Like, dude, listen. I hope Donald Trump runs again with Candace Owens as his vice president, or Matt Gaetz, Matt Gaetz runs with Candace Owens. It doesn't even have to be Trump. You just got to be backed by Trump. They think, the left thinks that Trump is the movement. Trump is not the movement. The movement is We're fed up. We're fed up with all the bullshit you're feeding us. The other day, the Mavericks. Oh my God, the Mavericks. This imbecile, Mark Cuban. I don't know what the hell to say to this guy. This guy has a lineup of $1 million players. Most of them are black. They live in the United States. They live super, super privileged lives because nobody cares that they're black. You can do anything that you want in this country. This is a free country. It has been for years. And this guy says, oh, we're no longer going to play the national anthem before our home games in fucking Dallas, Texas. Like they should kick his ass out of there. I swear to God, if I lived in Dallas, Texas, I would go and just picket in front of every Mavericks game. I wouldn't spend a penny. Oh my God, you talk about burning American flags, talk about burning jerseys. But if you do that, you're a racist. If you burn a Dallas Mavericks jersey, you'll probably be labeled a racist because you're a racist because you love this country and you love the national anthem. I said, listen, man, like I said, the hypocrisy that I see. Look, I'm going to tell you something because I said I was going to make it short, but then I got on a soapbox and I'm sorry, but it just drives me insane. This is driving me insane. They're trying to divide the country. I keep telling you, they're dividing the country. Nobody cares. Okay. And you know, it's all hypocrisy. The politicians, they're just doing it for their ratings or their votes, or they just want to stay in power. That's all it is. You know, we need term limits. We definitely need term limits. But listen, I've always said to you that the nation's what's important. If we do not find God and we continue down this path of anarchy, like what we're seeing in Seattle and what we're seeing all over the place, I mean, it's just bombs going off under New York in a manhole. Like, it's just craziness. It's craziness because people are tired of being locked up over this virus. You know, I mean, I know people are dying. I get it. But, you know, what happened to the flu? What happened to heart attacks? What happened to all the other things that people die from? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it sucks, but you got to live, man. Why do you think of Florida? Listen, I work in construction. You know what I'm saying? I was having this conversation today because people are coming down here. People are leaving everywhere. They want to come live in Florida. Nobody wants to live locked down in Florida. We have the same amount of deaths, the same amount of cases. There's nothing crazy. It's not like we're 3-1 to anybody else. We're doing great. And in Florida, it's pretty normal, man. Thank God for Ron DeSantis, freaking Papa D, baby. That guy's a badass. Thank God we got that guy as a mayor, man. I mean, as a governor. Thank God. I mean, because if not, Florida would be insufferable. We got great weather. Everybody's working. You put on your little mask, you know, or your 2 or 3 or 14 masks, whatever the hell Fauci says next. Put on your mask, go to work, man. My kids are in school. Everything's great. Like, anyway, so look, what's important here is America. It's not any one person. It's not Donald Trump. It's not Joe Biden. It's not any one person. Okay, no man or woman is above the nation. Okay, all men and women die. Everybody dies. Okay, the nation is supposed to live on. What the question here is, what nation are you leaving behind? We all, you know what, I had a really deep conversation. I don't want to get deep here, but real quick, I had a deep conversation with my daughter because we were pondering death. She actually asked, you know, my daughter's 11. She understands what death is now. She understands that it's pretty final, at least in the physical realm, it's final. And it's a tough conversation. But one of the things that I told her is I said, the fact that death is so final and that you understand it should show you the value of every day. If you don't learn anything from life and death, learn that death is inevitable. You cannot escape it. It is inevitable. The other thing about death that is inevitable is you don't know when it's going to happen, right? It's an unknown. It could be today. It could be tomorrow. It could be 30 years from now. It could be 10 years from now. Nobody knows. So, because you're constantly without knowing, without certainty of the day, every second counts. Every day counts. My days are packed with stuff. I cannot stop doing things. Why? Because I want to take advantage of every second. And this is a part of it. This whole, Radio Red Pill. It's a part of it. Take advantage of every day, man. So going back to the country, we got to do something. The question is, what country are you going to leave behind? What are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? What do you have the balls to do something to make it right? Do you have or do you not care? Some people don't care. I understand that's fine. Some people are called to it and some people aren't. But you don't have to do anything major. You don't have to start a podcast and lose all your free time like I do, right? You don't have to research what's going on and try to bring it to the masses. You don't have to do any of that. You know what you got to do? You got to teach your children that all racism is bad. And what I mean by that is racism is a universal thing. It's all bad. A black man who hates a white man is just as racist as a white man who hates a black man. And then I'll tell you, in a GQ article that I just read, they'll tell you, well, if you say all lives matter, you are negating the oppression that was felt by black people in this year. What are you talking about? I'm not negating anything. That's what you see. That's what you see when I say all lives matter, because you want to delineate and separate black from white, or black from Hispanic, or Hispanic from white. You're creating the delineation. You're creating the division. If I say all lives matter, guess what? All lives are included in that. It doesn't mean I'm negating the oppression that you had. I'm going to give you a perfect example of why that whole line is bullshit. Okay? Jews were persecuted by the Germans, by Hitler. They were killed by the millions, not by the thousands or the hundreds. They were killed by the millions by the Hitler and the Nazi regime. Were they not? Yes, that's a fact, right? Historical fact. The Jews were persecuted and killed. They were hunted down. Not like today that a black man can walk down the street and the cops aren't going to hunt him down because nobody's hunting down black people like the media will have you believe. They were hunted down. If you were Jew, if you were of the Jewish faith, you were hunted down, and they were stuck in concentration camps, and horrible things were done to them, and they were separated from their families and killed. They were persecuted. And guess what? If a white Jew hates a black American, he's a fucking racist. He's being racist. And just because I say he's being a racist doesn't mean that I'm negating the oppression that the Jewish community or the Jewish faith or people of the Jewish race went through. I'm not negating that. I'm talking about that one guy being a racist because he doesn't like black people. It's the same thing. Racism is bad. Nobody should be judged by the color of their skin. So do you have the balls to explain that to your kids? Because right now I'm going to tell you, what I'm saying is, it's absurd. What I'm saying right now is like super racist. Mind you, I'm the least racist person on the planet, okay? But it doesn't matter because common sense has gone out the window at this point. Like, you can't even talk about race without people getting offended. If I just say, hey man, a black guy that doesn't like white people is just as racist. Oh my God, bro, why did you even get into that? It's like a taboo subject. Dude, we're fucking adults. Stop it. Okay, same thing. So you got to do something about that. You have to have a backbone, and you have to explain to your kids, hey man, you treat everybody equally. That is the correct way. Equally in the eyes of God, equally in the eyes of the law, equality. It doesn't mean blacks are above whites. It doesn't mean whites are above blacks. It's equally, okay? So what the point is, nobody should be mistreated by the color of your skin. And right now, it's the opposite. Right now, anybody who's born white is being shamed just because they're born white. That is not right either. You should not do that. That's not right, because you're just teaching people to delineate the different colors of people's skins, which is retarded, okay? But I've said it before, it's retarded. So you want to make a difference? Teach your kids that. That's one thing you can make a difference on, so that they don't use race later as a crutch or something to feel like entitlement. Just because I'm Hispanic. I'm Hispanic. I'm fucking Hispanic. I speak Spanish. I speak English. I'm brown. I don't use that as a crutch to ask for favors. I don't carry it as a cross. I don't care that my family was persecuted by the communist government. I don't carry that as a cross either. Like, what is the problem? You tell me, bro, but they don't call Cubans wetbacks, but they call them rafters, and that's because they come over in rafts. Call me a rafter, I'll laugh. Okay, like, don't take it so damn seriously. Okay, remember the whole life thing that we were talking about. But anyway, that's one thing you can do. You teach them that. Do you have it in you to teach your kids that this country, despite all of the faults and the historical mistakes that it's done, has also done more for human rights, citizens' rights, equality of all races, okay, than any other country in history. We are the beacon. The United States has served as a beacon of light for the entire world. And we continue to be. Nobody is trying to change that. They just want to do it legally. Well, that's what Trump wanted to do. Biden has now pretty much allowed everybody in, okay? So, whatever, man, I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, look, would you teach your kids that people have died by the hundreds of thousands to protect the equal rights for all races? That's another fact, okay, in the United States. And would you teach them that many, many more have died to protect the freedoms and liberties of other people around the world that were not Americans? Would you teach them that despite the mistakes of our past, our country has grown into this beautiful melting pot of all these races where everyone is allowed the same rights and the same privileges, and you know, we're all in this together, and me, Hispanics and other Hispanics and blacks and Jamaicans and Haitians and Japanese and Chinese, we're all here. We're all here. Everybody, and if I missed you, I'm sorry, but we're all here. The whole point is, would you teach them that this country is the country that has done more for that kind of equality and given opportunity for those people to become successful despite any racial situation, okay? Because everybody's can be successful here. It's all dependent on my effort or on that person's individual effort, okay? So because of that, will you teach them that it's important to stand up for the national anthem and not disrespect the people that lost their lives to protect those rights? That's why you stand and you put your hand over your heart, because you're supposed to show fealty, supposed to show pride and honor in this country. You should be proud to be an American. Back in the days, you would be in another country and be like, oh, no, I'm American. Oh, you're an American. Oh, my God, that's great. And people loved the fact that you were an American. And today you're creating children that are like, oh, I'm sorry that I asked for a glass with ice. I'm an American. I apologize. Very sorry. Horrible. I'm a horrible human being because I'm an American. I'm sorry. That's what you're creating. Instead of being proud, it's like, hey, hold on, man, I'm an American. I got this. Relax. No. There's no pride. You have to hide the fact you're an American. That's what you're creating. So, listen. All I'm saying to you is, if you want to do something, make a difference, be the person that teaches your kids that it's important to be proud of your country. Be the person that teaches your kids that it's important to stand up for the anthem and that it's important to treat all people equally. That's what you should do. A lot of people, the reason I'm telling you is a lot of people ask me, hey, well, what can we do? How do we save the country? That's how you save the country. Get involved. Fucking be a good parent. You know what I mean? Teach your kids pride in your country and in sports and in everywhere, and teach them honor and to honor each other. And when somebody says, oh, and they try to treat you and they treat you with disrespect, treat them with respect back. You know what I mean? Don't kick them when they're down, like Michelle Obama will tell you. Don't do it. You know, so anyway, I'll leave you with those thoughts for now. And I also want to remind you that I told you that it was going to be short. It's been pretty short, but we have a great guest coming up next week. Okay. It's actually our first nationally recognized personality that's going to grace us on Radio Red Pill. And I'm super excited about that. Hopefully it's not the last nationally recognized personality, Candace. I'm waiting. I've sent you a couple messages. Anyway, so hopefully it's not the last nationally recognized person, but I'm still holding out, hoping that Candace Owens will come on the show, and that will make me really happy. Anyway, next week we're having a chat, and I'm going to tell you with who. It is with Florida native and United States Congressman Dennis Ross. Okay, as I mentioned, Mr. Ross is a politician, and he served for the United States House of Representatives from 2011 to 2019. He's also a successful businessman, and he's been a distinguished professor at Southeastern University since 2018. He's a conservative voice. He's been on Bill O'Reilly's show. He's been on Fox News, and he's had a few interviews and a few show spots with those amateurs out there. But he finally landed a gig with Rolly from Hialeah on Radio Red Pill, and I'm sure he's super excited about that, as excited as I am, because I'm gonna pick his brain like only a Cuban who's high on espresso can do. So just look forward to that. I look forward to it. I can't wait till it happens. I hope everybody tunes into that. The episode should drop Wednesday the 17th. So just be ready for that. It's, again, Dennis Ross, Wednesday the 17th. He's going to be on Radio Red Pill. And I'm announcing it now, Dennis, so you can't back out. But it'll be next week, Wednesday, when that drops. It'll either be Wednesday or Thursday when it drops. But I'll post something on social media to let you guys know. Again, it's almost it's almost Valentine's Day, so make sure that you guys go out to dinner, for all the lovebirds out there. Make sure you enjoy yourselves and do something nice for each other. And I probably insulted birds, and PETA's going to come after me, but I don't care. I really don't give a shit at this point. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Go out to dinner. And if you live in California, order some Postmates or something, because you're stuck unless you're Gavin Newsom. Right, and Nancy Pelosi's not going to share her ice cream with you, so you might as well order something. Speaking of ice, by the way, my prayers go out to the families of that 133 car pileup in Fort Worth today, in Fort Worth, Texas. If you don't know about it, there was some ice on the road, and it was horrible. I saw the videos. It was just absolutely horrible. Really, my prayers go out to all those families. I hope that the people that survived, that were injured. I think there was dozens of people injured. 6 people were dead the last time I checked. And, I hope that the people that were injured get better. And it was just a mess, man. It was 133 cars and trucks, semi-trucks were ramming into the cars, and it was really bad. It was bad. So, my prayers go out to them, and my prayers go out to the other ICE also, because, like I told you, Biden made it impossible to hold or deport illegal aliens, even if they have felonies like rape and assault. Yeah. So yeah, you heard that right. Okay. So good luck with that, fellas. I'd buy a couple ping pong tables, maybe some chess boards, because you're going to have a really slow 4 years on your hands, guys. Sorry. Anyway, listen, I love you all. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, please subscribe. Doesn't hurt anything. If you can, leave a like, leave a comment. I appreciate it. I'm working on another financial podcast with you guys. The last one that I did, everybody was really, really happy with the crypto what is crypto one. So I'm going to do something again like that. The other thing that I'm working on is I'm trying to get another guest in here. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I'm working on that, and it should be a surprise. So we'll work on the financial stuff. We'll work on getting some more guests for you guys. And listen, keep on grinding, Miami, like always. Candela.